Good evening, everyone. This is your evening news recap, your nightly news podcast on all the news that I come across throughout the day, giving you my take as somebody who aspires to be a politician in the near future. Hopefully, all you guys are doing wonderful. Hopefully, all you guys are well. Today is December 6th, and it is Tuesday. Can you believe it? It's Tuesday already. It's also already the 6th, which is crazy. But hopefully, all you guys are having a wonderful week so far, whether you're going to school, work, whatever it is. Hopefully, it's going well. If you're new here, please consider subscribing. All the support would greatly appreciate it as we are trying to reach 1,000 subscribers on YouTube by this summer. And if you're on Substack, please consider subscribing as well. All support goes to me. It's $8 a month, and all funds help me pay for the things that I need to pay for in my life, like my groceries, like my clothing, like my bills, all that kind of stuff. But if not, you can always subscribe for free. I truly do appreciate all of your support on this content. With that being said, though, let's get into the stuff from today. First thing we have today is the historical calendar. I'm trying to think of like a good way to phrase what this is, and I think a historical calendar is a great way to do that. But this is from January 6th, 1960. The Senate opens the fanciest subway this side of Moscow. The U.S. Senate opened a $2 million subway line in Washington, running 1,000 feet from the new Senate office building to the U.S. Capitol. Russell Baker reported that in the Times, the Senate chaplain described the systems for air-conditioned cars as swift chariots of democracy. The new line was an upgrade from the two-car monorail system that has been in place for years. Today, the Capitol subway system consists of 3 lines, 2 on the Senate side and 1 on the House side. That's very cool. I like trains a lot. Trains are one of my personal interests. I grew up watching Thomas the Train and playing with the toy wooden ones. Toby is the best train, by the way. Um, but I'm a big fan of trains. There's a bunch of train museums in Colorado that I haven't had the opportunity to go to yet. Keyword yet. I would love to go to them soon. But outside of that, there are a lot of trains all over the world. I'm a huge believer in the idea that we should have high-speed railway across the United States. We're one of the biggest countries in the world. It takes a long time to travel across the United States. If you're not taking a plane, why not make a high-speed rail train? There are so many other countries who have been able to accomplish it. We're the richest country in the world. We're the most powerful country in the world. I'm very sure we can as well. California failed to do it, unfortunately, under Gavin Newsom. I blame Gavin Newsom for that without a doubt. I'm not the biggest fan of his work as governor, but you guys all know that. Outside of that, though, let's get some high-speed rail, am I right? That would be so nice. Anyways, let's move into the news from today. Moving on into our Trump administration segment, the Department of Justice has to admit if the Cartel de los Solos is real or not. One of the biggest claims from the Trump administration has been that Nicolas Maduro was the leader of the Cartel de los Solos, claiming that it was a narco-terrorist organization. But now, according to a new report from the New York Times, that doesn't even exist, that being the cartel. And the Department of Justice will have to prove if it does or not. Trump has used this organization against Venezuela since his first term, but it's being used as a slang term in local media in Venezuela to describe corruption in the country, according to the report by the New York Times. Due to this, the Department of Justice has started to backtrack its use of the cartel and its name when it comes to going after Maduro, which is why you've seen it mentioned a lot less these days. This does not shock me in the slightest. As a whole, it's been a war based on lies. Sorry. Trump himself has already said that this is a war based on oil. Nobody cares about drugs. Let's be real. It's the fucking United States of America. Who cares about drugs in this country? It makes the economy run. Unfortunately, that's just the truth of it. This is just another thing that adds to it. It really is. They're using local slang from Venezuela and turning it into propaganda, feeding it directly to you. Maduro was not a great leader. I don't think he should be in office, nor do I think any dictator should be in office. But, Trump and his administration are no better at the end of the day. And they are actively lying to the American people on a regular basis to do what they wish, not to mention the amount of times they defy the Constitution, defy a judge, defy the law as a whole. In other news, Trump has frozen billions in child care funding for Democratic-led states. The Trump administration has halted billions of dollars in federal fundings for child care services programs in 5 Democratic states following fraud allegations in the states. This move freezes $7 billion for the Needy Families Program, $2.4 billion for child care development fraud, and around $870 billion for social service grants benefiting children in the states of Minnesota, New York, California, Illinois, and Colorado. I just want to take this time to remind you all that California paid more than $800 billion in federal taxes in 2025, a number that increases yearly. Just a few years ago, it was $700 billion, but only got back $175 billion from all of that. Yet this administration has the goal to restrict the state's funding for programs that are very beneficial to the children in the state of California. If you ask me, as someone who is a native California, they should at least be getting half of what they pay back into the federal taxes. But if not more. Unfortunately, that will never happen anytime soon. But you know, I could only wish as a native Californian. As a whole, this was expected. They've been targeting childcare, a lot recently. And Trump is taking all the chances he can get to target blue areas and blue states whenever he can. It's the Trump political system of the day, which has really emerged with, this rash, screaming, yelling, unflattering version of politics we've seen in the United States, as of late, of course. In other news, the White House has confirmed it is evaluating military options with Greenland. The White House has confirmed Trump is weighing options to acquire Greenland with the use of U.S. military among its possibilities. Caroline Leavitt said in a statement, President Trump has made it well known that acquiring Greenland is a national security priority of the United States. It's vital to deter our adversaries in the Arctic region. The President and his team are discussing the range of options to pursue this important foreign policy goal. And of course, utilizing the U.S. military is always an option at the commander-in-chief's disposal. No more new wars, they said. Again, like I said the other day, where is the accountability for the Trump administration? We need to start holding politicians in this country accountable because this man ran on not starting any new wars. He told his supporting base, he told so many millions of people, not just in the United States, but around the world, that there would be no more new wars started under the Trump administration. Yet that's a lie. And the fact that his supporting base is not calling out for it, instead they're glazing him for it, saying, oh, that this is a great thing and these wars are a great thing, it's kind of crazy. Not to mention all the other things he said he would do, like release the Epstein files, make things cheaper, all of which have not been the case. Nobody is holding Trump accountable for that except people on the left. His own supporting base has not at all, and they're the people who voted for him. There's a massive problem with that in this country, and that is something that needs to be changed. It doesn't matter if you're on the left or if you're on the right. We need to hold politicians accountable in this country. We should not allow politicians to just do as they wish, do as they please. Trump has defied the law under this administration time and time again. He has gone against the Constitution. He has targeted free speech. He has done so many other things that he has blamed other people in the past for doing that they haven't done, and nobody calls him out for it in his own supporting base. That should be seen as a problem. Unfortunately, that will never be recognized as a problem because the majority of MAGA stays on Fox News and Newsmax. But it's funny. Trump is really just like a George Santos, but worse. A lot of that man is propped up on lies and propaganda, especially when it comes to MAGA. In other news, Trump is predicting himself that he'll be impeached if Republicans lose the midterms. Trump has predicted that he will be impeached if Republicans lose midterms, saying at the House Republican policy retreat that this would be the case. Trump said, "You've got to win the midterms because if we don't win the midterms, it's going to be, they'll find a reason to impeach me. I'll get impeached." Even Trump knows himself that what he is doing under this administration is worthy of impeachment. He's saying it himself right here. This is a direct quote from Trump. Should be a sign to MAGA, but it won't be, but that Trump is a failure of a president and that he himself knows that he is a horrific president that should not be running the country the way he is. I truly do hope so, but it won't be a sign. They'll completely ignore it in its entirety. I truly do hope Trump is removed after midterms, but not just Trump, the entire Trump administration, especially J.D. Vance. We need a president who can actually solve problems that Americans have in this country, like getting things like free healthcare, like getting rid of all the massive fraud for things like the military, like providing free higher education, and so many other things that are just stupid that we don't have, in this country. that would actually benefit the American people. Benefiting the healthcare system as a whole. Making food healthier in this country, a better immigration system that doesn't only prioritize white people, and I can go on and on and on, but I won't. What we really need is someone who can solve problems like that, and not some bullshit establishment Democrat like Gavin Newsom, who is going to sit around with his thumb up his ass and do absolutely nothing, because that's what the Democrats do. I mean, let's be real. Anyways, talking about ICE, Hilton has unfortunately caved to ICE. Of course, just yesterday we talked about the fact that a Hilton hotel branch denied ICE service. Now they have caved to the corporation, or not the corporation, the organization. Hilton Hotel has given in to ICE and the Trump administration, allowing ICE agents in Minnesota to use their hotels. The official Hilton Hotel account said on Twitter, "This hotel is independently owned and operated, and these actions were not reflective of Hilton values. We have been in direct contact with this hotel, and they have apologized for their actions of their team, which was not in keeping with their policies. They have taken immediate action to resolve this matter. Hilton's position is clear. Our properties are open to everyone, and we will not tolerate any form of discrimination." Well, that was nice for 2 seconds. A round of applause truly for Hilton for choosing fascism over, supporting the American people. I'm sure the boycotts will be great for that one. Really, really did yourself a good one there. Congratulations. But just ask Target about it, truly. At this point, I'm not surprised about it. I'm more surprised when companies don't cave to the Trump administration, because who hasn't caved to the Trump administration at this point? I mean, even CNN has. It's looking grim, guys, unfortunately. But we'll see. Midterms are this year. Hopefully, hopefully, hopefully. Anyways, moving on into our other news segment for today, the Denmark Prime Minister has issued an urgent warning about Trump. Danish Prime Minister Mette Frederiksen said the United States taking Greenland would lead to an end of NATO. She told Danish broadcaster TV2, "If the United States chooses to attack another NATO country militarily, then everything stops. This is including our NATO, and thus the security that has been provided since the end of the Second World War." Why would any sensible government go to war with their allies over a piece of land? Your answer to that, and the answer to that, is no sensible country would do that. In case you guys didn't know, you fight your enemies, not your allies. And under this administration, it seems to be the exact opposite of that, which is a problem. We're buddies with Russia now. When has the United States ever been able to say that since, since the Alaskan Purchase? Not to mention, like, we're going after our allies, like with Denmark here, or, around the world, left and right. I mean, this administration is an opposite of who our country has been on the outside for the past 80 years. I mean, it sure is a boiling of what has been happening on the inside for the past 80 years. But I mean, like, what are we doing as a country? It truly it's laughable how incompetent this looks, how insane this looks, and how stupid this looks. We have no reason to be going to war with an ally. That is the stupidest thing of all time that this country could do, because that makes us against every single other country that is an ally of ours within Europe. Tell me why that's smart. It's not. It's really not. Especially with the rise of China. Especially with the rise of India, who's, partially a US ally. Russia and the United States are on a downturn here. It's going to be China and India as the big headers going forward. The question is, will the United States be able to sustain itself, and will it still be able to retain dominance, and will it still be able to make a name for itself in the future going forward? China and India are both on the rise. Those are the two most populated countries in the world. Those are two of the most progressing countries in the world. And the world's going to look a lot different if the Trump administration ends up being one of the biggest reasons why the United States falls behind. They're already setting us behind years. How far and how long is it going to take us to bounce back from this, to be able to compete with the people who are actually important to compete with? But also, we have no reason to be buddies with Russia. Russia has never been our friend. They have a dictator in Putin. It is beyond me why we would ever want to be friends with Russia. But I guess that's what you expect when you have a president who has been bought out by the country. Anyways, in other news, European leaders have also issued a statement on Greenland. Several European leaders have issued a statement following comments from Trump that his administration about them taking Greenland. The leaders of France, Germany, Italy, Poland, Spain, and the United Kingdom joined the Danish Prime Minister in saying, Greenland belongs to its people. It's for Denmark and Greenland and them only to decide on matters concerning Denmark and Greenland. It continues, security in the Arctic must therefore be achieved collectively in conjunction with NATO allies, including the United States, by upholding the principles of the UN Charter, including sovereignty, territorial integrity, and inviolability of borders. These are the principles of the universal principles, and we will not stop defending them. I mean, Trump making these statements, just like I said, Trump making these statements plays right into the hands of countries like China and Russia. They want us to be against our allies actively, and it benefits them for that. We don't need control of Greenland, nor do we need control of Venezuela or anywhere else in the world. We don't. There's no reason for that. We were fine before this Trump administration. We had a solid amount of influence around the entire world set up by administrations before Trump. Yet Trump had to go around and fuck that up, and now we're going to have to fix all of that now after he goes. But we don't need control of any of these countries. We're already the strongest country in the world. We spend $1 trillion a year on our military, dwarfing any other country in comparison to how much they spend on their military. I mean, we could cut our military spending in half, and I don't even think the next country would be spending half of what we spend on our military every year. I think we would be fine if we just left these countries alone. And in fact, we would be fine. There is no reason for us to try and bring back the idea of manifesting destiny. As American as that is, to manifest destiny and, put some more stars on the flag. We don't need it. We're fine as a country. We are the strongest country in the world. We are the richest country in the world. Why do we need that, truly? We had a good thing going. Trump had to come in and fuck it up. It's because people aren't smart enough to recognize that. This country has never been great, by the way. I do want to also emphasize that there are so many more ways that we could fix this country and make it so much better. Bray 2030, don't forget it when I make it into office. We will actually make this country great, providing things for the working class and supporting the working class, because that's what a government should be doing for its people. Anyways, talking for our last topic for tonight, unfortunately, Congressman Doug LaMalfa has passed away. Northern California Congressman of District 1, Doug LaMalfa, has passed away at age 65, according to a statement from his staff. Early this morning, Congressman Doug LaMalfa returned to his home to the Lord. He leaves a lasting legacy of a servant's leadership, kindness to the North State. My condolences to LaMalfa's family. It's always sad to see a Californian go. I hope they are able to make it through their struggles during this time. I don't believe a cause of death is known quite yet, but as always, if it's something massive, I'll update you guys on that. With that being said, though, thank you everyone for watching today's episode. I hope you all enjoyed it. It has definitely been a very interesting day in the news world, that is for sure. If you're new here, though, please consider subscribing. All the support would greatly appreciate it, as we are trying to reach 1,000 subscribers on YouTube by this year, by this summer, of course. We just passed 670, but that's a little joke that my roommate and I have been making over the past few days after we passed that one, and I thought it was really funny. Ignore my brain rot humor of an individual. But hopefully all you guys are doing wonderful. If you're on Substack, please consider subscribing as well. It's $8 a month. All funds go to me. Helps me pay for the things that I need to pay for in my life, like my groceries, like my bills, like all of that. This is a viewer-supported show, so all the support is greatly appreciated, truly. I took my computer into the shop today, just as an update on that. I had to pay $75 to get a quote on that. That hurt the bank a little bit, just because they have to take the whole computer apart, apparently. But we'll see how that one goes. Hopefully it doesn't break the bank too much. Any donations would be greatly appreciated to my Venmo. That is on most of my social medias, if not my TikTok. Just saying, you don't have to if you cannot afford that. But it's looking like this one's going to be a little expensive. Outside of that, though, thank you everyone for watching. I truly do appreciate it. Have a good one, guys. I will see you all tomorrow in the next episode. Later.